Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about Memories of Ice, which is the third book in Malazan, Book of the Fallen. A couple months ago, I posted my thoughts right after finishing Deadhouse Gates, or I guess not right after. I read a little bit of Memories of Ice and then posted the video, but I finished Memories of Ice like the day before last. So I took a day just to kind of soak all of it in and think about it. And I'm posting this kind of hot off the book, pretty much. Although I had to hold myself back from starting the next one, which I've got around here somewhere. Yeah, House of Chains, which I've got. I'm ready to go. I'm hyped. I'm excited to read the next one, which I guess is a little bit of an indicator of what I think about this book. So Memories of Ice brings us back to the Ginnabakan continent, or I guess just Ginnabacus. Genabacus, I'm going to say Ginnabacus. Um, when in the last book we spent a lot of time in the Seven Cities, outside of like Callum and going to Malaz City to deal with Empress Lacine, which is a bunch of shit I don't really entirely understand happened there. Um, so, kind of my general thoughts on this book. This was really good. It was amazing. I think that the writer Steven Erikson has just gotten better as the books have gone on at creating a cohesive whole narrative that I think doesn't create needless confusion. I feel like uh, I know that Gardens of the Moon is a bit all over the place, um, and there are moments in it that I think the confusion is a bit needless. I know that some of that is I don't know how much of it I guess I don't know how much of it is intentional, but part of the charm of the book is a bit to me that you kind of don't know what's entirely going on until you read further into the series and more things click into place. But there are some parts of Gardens of the Moon that I think the confusion the reader is feeling is a bit excessive. I feel like he's gotten much better over time creating uh, 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 not necessarily confusion, but interest and curiosity. And I guess confusion stems from that. But anyways, the I think the structure of the narrative in Memories of Ice is a lot tighter than it was even in Dead House Gates. Um, and I think I kind of like. I think there are parts of Memories of Ice that I like more than Dead House Gates. Or no, let me put it. I got it a little backwards. I think that there are parts of Dead House Gates that I like more than Memories of Ice, but Memories of Ice overall is stronger. It is more solid throughout. Um, I do feel like some parts of Dead House Gates, kind of in retrospect, were a little bit of a slog. But not so much that I really got too bored. Um, just throughout Memories of Ice, shit is intense all the time. I'm kind of always wanting to know more. I'm always turning that next page. Um, so I guess I have a little bit of this is gonna be all over the place. This video does presuppose that you have some understanding of Memories of Ice. It's also gonna be spoilerific. Now I know I'm saying that like 4 minutes into the recording now, but it is what it is. Um, you don't have to have seen my Dead House Gates video. That's completely fine. It's not even very good. I doubt this one will be much better. But anyways, um, I have a document here with just a bunch of things I want to talk about. I in any given thing in this book, as I said in my last video, and I think this is going to be a recurring theme throughout all of the books. Any one topic that I spend a couple minutes on could be several videos and essays. So this is very, very top level, just kind of reaction stuff. For more analysis, I heavily recommend. I believe it's a Critical Dragon. I think he's like a friend of Steven Erickson or something like that. But his videos are excellent. I have held myself off from watching his Memories of Ice video because I wanted to get my thoughts spoken and out, kind of untainted, I suppose. Although I guess that depends on what you mean by tainted, but I digress. Anyways, let's go over some of the things that really struck me and have stuck with me after the book. So the first thing I have written down, is Karuli, the caravan merchant or whatever, the guy who hires Gruntle and Harlow and Stani Manakis, or is it Stony Manakis? I think it's Stani Manakis, to kind of guard the caravan, guard his caravan as he's traveling to Capistan, whatever. I feel like a fucking idiot. I feel like a moron because Karuli is Karul. How did I not see this coming? This stupid wordplay. This got me last time with the divers and diverse, because divers are shapeshifters that can turn into multiple things, but soul taken, one taken, can turn into one thing. I can't believe he got it. I didn't realize until I finished the book. When Karuli was revealed to be Karul, I felt like an idiot because it's literally Karuli, and the guy's name is Karul. So, like that, doesn't happen until like more than halfway through the book. But, yeah, Karuli, kind of unmasking himself as Karul, is a very interesting thing to happen, because you've got in that like meeting where they're discussing how they're going to approach, they're gonna like march towards the name of the city. How am I blanking on the name of the city? I finished it literally just a couple days ago. Coral, which is where the Panayan Seer is. I think I really hope I'm not getting this out of order, but I think Karuli is like, I am Karul, and the few members of the Shadow Council, or not Shadow, Masked Council, Shadow Council, a few members of the Masked Council that are there are kind of like the little, very taken aback by this. I think it's Wrath, Shadow Throne, and another is there. So that definitely, goddamn you with your word play. There's another moment with words and what they mean with what is it? Fucking, oh, someone was waving to me through my window. Hello. There's another moment with word play with Talani Mas when they discover the barrows, or not, those tunnels underneath Capistan that are holding a bunch of old longboats. Like the T apostrophe in the Talani Mas, the T sound, instead of it just being Tlan, it being Tlan, means it's like in the past or something like that. It's gone. I forget who brings that up. That might be it, Kovian and Bruckhalion or something with the Finner's Revi and the Grey Swords. One of those three maybe brought that up with Hetton. But I digress. So apparently that was first in my notes. I don't know how that made it to number one. I think I just wrote it down as things came to me. And then right after that, I have Whiskey Jack's death, which struck me as a surprise. This fucking hit me hard, because I didn't think he'd be dying in this book. I thought if Whiskey Jack's gonna die, it's not gonna be this early. There's 10 books. This guy has like strong, I'm gonna be here for a while energy, right? But I guess that's why you cut him down and kill him. You bastard. You killed him. I really liked Whiskey Jack. He was a great character. Him and his romance with Corlat was interesting. And he died because of his, I don't want to say abashedness isn't the right word, stubbornness maybe, kind of that soldier. He had a pillar had fallen on his leg in the battle with Raced in Darujistan, and he had never properly gotten his leg fixed. And all throughout the fucking book, he's like complaining about his leg, or like he's got pain in it. I guess he doesn't complain about it that much, but Mallet several times will offer to heal the leg, and he'll just be like, I'll do it later. Well, later does not come, because Calor, who's this super old, he ruled over an empire hundreds of thousands of years ago, because I don't know if he was there for the beginning of the Planimas, but he was, but Calor, no, because he did the excavation and learning about the Kachin Shamale. I think it's Kachin Shamale. Pronunciations. But anyways, a long fucking time ago, Calor ruled and then was cursed by the 3 elder gods of Karul and, I don't know, 2 others. I think Draconis, who is in the Sword of Dragnapur. And is it the Lady of Shadow? Nightchill? Who I think is inside Silver Fox. And we're going to get to Silver Fox. But, Whiskey, yeah. Anyways, so Whiskey Jack died because Calor fucking sliced and diced him. He stabbed, Calor stabbed Whiskey Jack with his huge sword, like right here, I believe, like somewhere around the heart area. And Whiskey Jack would have been able to either like deflect or dodge or whatever that blow, had his injured leg not buckled under the pressure. And the way it's described, his like femur broke or something, and the bone went through the skin and was piercing through, and you could see the white of the bone. Absolutely just the worst possible pain someone can feel. Well, I guess there's worse. There's a lot worse in this book, but having your femur broken seems like an extraordinarily painful thing. I think that's the strongest bone in your body. It's one of them, at least, if not the strongest. So, ow. And then he gets stabbed through the heart. Or heart area, lungs, whatever. By Calor. And then Calor then kills those two Marines. Calor tried to kill Corlat, but did not. I don't know if he tried to kill her or just incapacitate her. But he, at the beginning of that fight, just like, I don't know, I think smacked her, stabbed her, something like that. And she was incapacitated, just watching the whole thing go down. And that was tragic. That was terrible. That induced manly tears within me. Because, not just because I like Whiskey Jack as a character, and I think he's cool, but because I understand the importance of Whiskey Jack to the Malazans and to everyone in One Arm's host, if not the Malazan Empire. Because I remember there's this conversation between Dujek and Whiskey Jack, where Dujek says something along the lines of, there's a reason that I was put in above you, and that's because Lysine, or is it Lysine or Empress Lysine? Yeah, that's because Lysine can control me, pretty much. I don't know, or it's something like that. Whiskey Jack is more powerful and has more will or whatever. He's just a stronger force of personality than Dujek is. And he can be beloved more, and he was beloved by One Arm's host and all of the bridge burners, especially. So that death was, it hit pretty hard. There's a lot of near the end of this book, a lot of people are just dying. Several of the bridge burners, what the fuck? Several of the bridge burners are cut down in the siege of Coral. If you could call it a siege, it's more of a disaster. It's kind of just watching a disaster movie unfold, both in the sense of it's a strategic disaster, and also it is a disaster after Moonspawn rises from the water nearby, which was a hell of a moment, and was really testing my visualization skills there, to try and imagine something that big coming out of the water and being like weighed down by all that water. And it was fascinating. It was super cool. But anyways, a lot of the bridge burners died there. Whole lot of people died. Earlier in the book, the Grey Swords are introduced with Ikovian, Brachalion, and I forget the Destriant's name, but Carnidus, yeah. Carnidus, Brachalion, Carnidus, who's the Destriant, Brachalion, who's the Mortal Sword, and Ikovian, who's the Shield Anvil. Ikovian is interesting. We're going to talk about him later. But earlier, they're introduced pretty early in the novel, and they seem like, okay, these are our major characters, right? And Brachalion dies in a pretty significant and impressive way. But still, he bites the dust, and so does Carnidus, who I believe gives his life to heal Ikovian, the Shield Anvil. So there's a lot of named characters dying, which is impressive and different to the things that I normally read, or have read in the past, and I kind of like it. I don't like people dying, but it makes sense. I don't think that there's really any or many deaths in this book that like I feel upset as like a reader. I mean, I'm upset because they're dead, because I like Whiskey Jack and I kind of like some of the Grey Swords. Although my feelings on them were a little like, I'm still kind of sussing those out, but a lot of the deaths feel like, okay, they're dead. It feels like their deaths are treated with respect. Definitely they're treated with respect. There is a common thing throughout this book, especially. I don't know if this was much of a thing in previous books, but of honoring the dead, and kind of doing right by them and remembering and all that. But I don't want to. But I do want to kind of keep moving here. So we've got the Tist-Andi, who return in this book with Animander Rake. Woo, what a guy! What a guy! He really does, in any scene that he's in, he steals the show. Like, I just want more. I just want more of him. I just want more of this guy. Because there is something captivating about him. My favorite moment with Animander Rake in this book, there are a couple, but there are really good moments in this book, with Animander Rake, is when he's his friendship with Whiskey Jack. When they're in the tent and they're talking, beep boop. When they're in Animander Rake's tent and they're drinking wine, and Whiskey Jack tells Animander Rake about how the bridge burners became the bridge burners. And, they became the bridge burners because they were traveling through the desert, chasing after Quick Ben, led by Callum. They were led by Callum to track down Quick Ben, and then we learned Quick Ben is, I think that's in this book. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was, ooh, I was smacking the microphone. Sorry about that. I'm like 199% sure that was in this book. I don't know. I'm probably, yeah. That Quick Ben is like 9 people, or no, I think he's 14 people in the body of one, and he can open, I forget the exact, it's either 7 or 9 warrens at one time, but he's access to more. Quick Ben is very, very cool. I like him a lot. But there is the story, and just kind of Whiskey Jack's, the way that Whiskey Jack kind of carried himself, really, I think Animander Rake saw something in Whiskey Jack, for sure. And so later in the book, when Animander Rake is still traveling with One Arm's host, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I think it's right after the Siege of Capistan. Or yeah, I think it's right after, I don't know, Siege of Capistan, but it's right after Capistan. I think, anyways, they're fighting a bunch of Tiniscowry. And in the Tiniscowry, there are a bunch of like mages that are incapacitated by some magic, I believe Animander Rake did. And it's destroying me that I cannot remember exactly what's going on in the scene. But there are a bunch of like incapacitated enemies that when they wake up, basically, are going to cast spells and slaughter One Arm's host, or at least do a whole lot of damage to Whiskey Jack's command, right? And Whiskey Jack Animander Rake is gonna do it. He's gonna go and he's gonna go kill those wizards or whatever. I think it's like the mothers of the children of the dead seed. I forgot about the children of the dead seed. Wow, that's interesting. Children of the dead seed are crazy. With Annister, I think is his name. He's the first. Anyways, Animander Rake is gonna go kill them, and he's gonna use Dragnapur, and it's gonna be terrible because Dragnapur, is literally worse than death, as we've seen, like, because Ganos Perrin traveled inside the sword, and we know what's in there. And in this book, we know it's even worse. What's in the sword? It's worse than we even thought, because they're being like chased by something. With the like wagon of souls or whatever, but Whiskey Jack is like, I'm not gonna let you kill them with Dragnapur because that's worse than death. And Animander Rake is like, well, if you don't do it, I will, pretty much. And so Whiskey Jack is like, fine, I'll do it. And what it looks like to his troops who are watching him from a ridge or something, is like Whiskey Jack is just riding around the battlefield slaughtering defenseless people, and that's something that Whiskey Jack kind of has to carry with him, that's what he looks like to his troops now, and he kind of is like, he looks at like Animander Rake, and there's like a resonance with that. I really hope I'm making sense here, or that you know what I'm talking about. I apologize for the disheveled thoughts, but that is the nature of this video. Okay, let's see what's next. You get a sip of water. Sippy sip. Moon spawn, hiding in the water. I already kind of talked about that. There's a lot of things here, and I do want to get to some of them. Dujek, I already talked about Dujek and Whiskey Jack. I feel bad for Dujek. First off, dude's only got one arm. But one-armed host sounds pretty cool, so you give and take. But I feel bad for Dujek because he, after the death of Whiskey Jack, he said, after learning about the death of Whiskey Jack, because Dujek and Whiskey Jack had been separated because they had, I don't know, some attack. They flew like Black Morinth people. The Black Morinth flew troops all the way over to Coral. It was going to be like a joint strike thing. But it didn't, things went to shit. Frankly, I don't entirely know what happened. Because reading that part of the book took me a couple weeks because of life things. So certain events are a little like blurry, but he learns about Whiskey Jack's death after the battle, and he says very simply, "I have lost a friend today." And that was like, oh, great. I'm going to cry again. Because the simplicity of that statement and those words conveys a lot more with it. It's the bluntness of that feeling of not just I've lost a comrade, I've lost I've lost, an excellent commander, and in several ways kind of the backbone of my troops. For morale, it's just Dujek and Whiskey Jack were friends, and he lost a friend, and that is goddamn sad. That moment where Corlat is mourning Whiskey Jack with the rain of coming down from Moonspawn, and I think Kaladin Brood is looking on, so we kind of get a third person perspective on that. Is an incredibly strong visual, and just God, the book is extremely cinematic, and creates so many. The book is one thing I really like about Malazan, Book of the Fallen so far, is that the characters have been very expressive and emotional, and that's something that I really like. That's not to say that it's just people breaking down all the time, although breakdowns happen now and then. It's that this series does not ignore the emotional weight of a lot of things the characters go through, and it deals with them very earnestly, and very dramatically, right? I mean, it's just when you like feeling something sometimes. I don't know. Try not to get too lost in the weeds there. If I tried to fully express that thought, that's going to take me a long time and a lot of stammering and stuttering. So we're just going to keep moving, and maybe I'll come back to that in the future. So yeah, I've lost a friend today. I want to talk about Perrin becoming master of the deck. Ganos Perrin, I think it's Ganos or something like that, is one of my favorite characters. That might be like, I don't know how popular of an opinion that is, at least so far. I like him. I like him grappling with this like massive amount of responsibility that's been dropped on him, and he doesn't want it. both in being a master of the deck, and also being a captain of the bridge burners, which he grapples with both of those throughout the book. And I'm losing it. Both of those struggles kind of mirror each other and feed into each other, right? Because as the captain of the bridge burners, he feels responsible for anything that goes wrong. And if any of his anyone dies under his command, he feels independently responsible for that. And a lot of the bridge burners are not entirely sure how they feel about Captain Perrin, because they have this thing with nobles, and he's a new captain. And I think like in book 1, the average captain of the bridge burners is alive for like a week or something. They don't make it a week, the average captain. So which I think is kind of funny, but over time Perrin kind of proves himself to the bridge burners, and I feel to himself as well. He kind of learns to, I guess, just live with it. I don't want to say he like accepts it, or I guess he does accept it, but that makes it sound like a bit more of a strong acknowledgement than I think it might be. It sounds like he just kind of lives with it. Like, okay, I'm the captain of the bridge burners, and I gotta do this. I hope maybe rereading it a lot of the book, it might be like kind of a different thing going on than that. But that's what I remember it being. And being master of the deck. I don't know what's up with the fucking master of the deck shit at all. That's confusing. He's master of the deck because Tattersail was being groomed by not Artanthos, but the guy that Artanthos was like a facsimile. It was a fake person. It was just a pseudonym for, what's the guy's name? Taishrin. There we go, Taishrin. Tattersail was being groomed by Taishrin to be master of the deck, but Tattersail and Bellarden killed each other? Question mark. Kind of. And I guess the nearest person was Perrin. So he's the master of the deck. I don't quite know how that happened. But it's very cool. It's all very cool. There's a moment where Quickbin and Perrin are taking down a condor or whatever, like a flying magical bird, and these things are they're kind of like bombs. They're like nukes. They seem like the equivalent of like a fucking nuke. One of these things was destroying like soldier upon soldier upon soldier with deadly spells, just like flying in the air. And there were like dozens of them, or a dozen or 24 or something like that at the Battle of Coral. So these are some deadly, deadly creatures. But Quickbin is like, quick, Perrin, draw it. And Perrin's like, I what? And he like got down in the dirt and like drew the condor, and Quickbin was like, do it or whatever. And Perrin was like, what is it? And Quickbin was like, ugh. And then he like smacked the drawing, and the bird fell out of the sky. I don't know what's up with that. But it's pretty cool. And then Perrin has like wolf blood in him. He's got one of the Hounds of Darkness in him. I forget which one. But like when he was fighting the condor, and stabbing it with his mailbreaker or some dagger, some short blade, there was also a hound there, like Quickbin saw there, but it wasn't like, Perrin did not turn into a hound. A hound came out of Perrin or something, some kind of something's going on there. Well, I know he's got like the blood of a hound running through him. So just strange happenings, really. A lot of strange things going on. But I feel like this entire series can be summarized by the Knives Out quote. It makes no damn sense. Compels me though. That's everything going on. I want to know what's up with that. And there's a sequence where Perrin is like teleported to the thinnest house in Darujistan, where Raist is the guardian, which I guess is what happened in the Gardens of the Moon. Is Raist was claimed by the thinnest, or the Azath house, as its guardian. I guess that happened. I forgot that happened, but that did happen. And I remember being confused by it then. I'm marginally less confused now, but I don't really... I want to know what's up with this Azath stuff. But anyways, Perrin is talking to Raist, and he goes to this place where there's like holds or whatever, and he's in the sky. I don't know, man. I don't know. I have to reread that part to really get it, or to fully recall it. But it's... makes no damn sense. Compels me, though. So, yeah, I could talk more about Perrin. Actually, I will. I'll talk a little more about Perrin. I had this for later, but I'll talk about it now. Actually, no. We're going to talk about Silver Fox, and then we'll segue to what I wanted to talk about there. So, Silver Fox is like 4 people. Silver Fox is Tattersail, Bellarden, Nightchill, and some 4th thing. There's like a 4th person there, I think. I'm not sure if that's the Maybe. I think it's pronounced Maybe. I'm not sure if that's the Maybe, or just the daughter of the Maybe. I don't know, but there's a 4th person. Maybe they talk about that, but I don't remember. Or who that 4th person is. I think they mentioned there is a 4th person, but we don't know who it is. Silver Fox is the first flesh and blood bone caster of the Tlanimas, and is the channeler. I think it's called channeler. And all the Tlanimas across Ganabakis, I think it's one clan of the Tlanimas. I don't think it's all of them. It's just one clan of the Tlanimas. They go to Silver Fox, and Silver Fox is or the Tlanimas are like, I'm done. Can you let us go now? And Silver Fox is like, nah. And then the Tlanimas are like, well, can you let go of the Tlan A? And Silver Fox is like, nah. But I don't know. There's also Silver Fox is building a dream realm for her mother, the Maybe. But that dream realm is also the realm of Tog and Farenday, who are the beasts of battle, and one of the god. I guess they're new gods or old gods, but they have their own realm now. I don't know. There's just a lot of things going on there, and intrigues me. Makes no damn sense, but it compels me. Right. Okay. So that part of there was a part of the book that really resonated with me on a personal level, just in terms of things that have gone on in my life, and that's what I wanted to talk about. That being when Perrin and Silver Fox meet up for the 2nd or 3rd time in the book. And this is there's kind of a hint of romance or connection between the two of them, because Perrin had a connection with Tattersail, who, they were, I guess, I'm honestly not entirely sure how close they really were, but Perrin thought they were very close for a while, and they were very important to each other for that brief moment. So there was kind of a romantic tension between the two, I think is a better way to put it. And oh my gosh, back in middle school, they're talking to each other, and they're like not, the chemistry's gone. Whatever was there is not there. And Perrin says, this is a quote from him: "I convinced myself that what you and I had, so very briefly, was of vaster and deeper import than it truly was. Of the weapons we turn upon ourselves, guilt is the strongest silver fox. It can carve one's own past into unrecognizable shapes, false memories leading to beliefs that show all kinds of obsessions." And this was something that really kind of struck close to home here for me, because I had semi-recently gone through kind of like a messy relationship. And this, reading this in a book, I in my real life, I had built up the relationship to be more than it was, right? More than it meant. And kind of reading Gano say that, and come to that realization, I realized he was saying things that I like connected with. And I really was like, damn, I built it up as more than it was. And I thought it was more important than it was, and that kind of thing. So that really resonated with me. And is another reason that he's one of my favorite characters, is partly just because of that moment. So, after Perrin with the Master of the Deck, there's the Grey Swords. The Grey Swords with Brockhalion, Carnidus, and Itkovian. I'm just going to talk about Itkovian. Itkovian is the shield anvil. He is the shield anvil. A very interesting concept of this, like, mercenary company, or not I guess like holy army, I guess is a way to put it. They're a holy army in service of Finner. Now there are 3 positions within Finner's Revi. Or I guess just any of these gods' armies. Or I just the god of war, or whatever it is, because Trake, the new god of war, also has a destriant, or anyways, the 3 ranks are the destriant, the mortal sword, and the shield anvil. Now I can understand what a destriant and a shield, or and a mortal sword is, right? Just kind of a very, very simply put. And everything in Malazan is more complicated if you look into it. But very simply put, the destriant is like, the magic guy or whatever. He's your magic user, and he did like the healing or whatever. And then kind of conceptually, I can understand that. Mortal sword just kind of makes sense. It's the god's champion, right? I get that. The shield anvil is an interesting one, because the shield anvil, there's a big thing with him taking on pain and grief and suffering from others. And it's something that I really don't... Some part of me gets it, and I understand this on a level that I can't, like, vocalize. Or I can't vocalize. I guess I could provide interpretive sounds of my mouth of how I feel about it and understand it, but that wouldn't be particularly helpful. There's a level of me that, like, gets it, but I can't explain it. Of taking on the grief and pain of others. And I find it interesting that Itkovian is the only one of the original gray swords that kind of make it through is a bit strong because Kovian dies as well, but makes it through Capistan, and he becomes friend with Gruntle and Whiskey Jack and a bunch of other people. And Kovian's just kind of an interesting guy in general. He seems like a neat dude. Like, I'd like to talk to Kovian. He seems like a fun guy. One thing I like about or I guess it struck me as a little odd is all the gray swords, they like, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. Of course, sir, or whatever. Regardless of who they're referring to, which is an interesting denotation of respect to everyone they interact with. But with Kovian has this feeling throughout the book that he's just not done yet. That there's just more waiting for him. There's more suffering that he will have to take and relieve from others. I guess it's empathy. I guess the shield anvil is just like a font of empathy. And I don't want to say forgiveness. That doesn't feel quite right. But just understanding. Sympathy. I forget empathy or sympathy, but I don't know. But eventually he takes the pain of the Tlani Mas into himself, without the protection of a god. He just takes it, and it's a strangely emotional moment that, like, 300,000 years, all of these Tlani Mas, each one of them has carried pain and trauma with them that they finally share with someone that isn't another Tlani Mas. And it's very strong. I don't know. It's just a very strong moment. All that to say, I like Kovian. Yeah, the Warrens. Oh my god, I haven't even talked about the crippled god yet. I haven't even talked about the crippled god, who is, as far as I understand, the main antagonist of the entire series. And I am surprised that he's just personified extremely quickly. Like, right at the beginning of the book. He's talking to people, and he has conversations. That peasant who's carrying an artisan's deck of cards or whatever to deliver to the crippled god, who's like chained to Burn, who is the sleeping goddess, and as far as I understand, reality is a dream. It is her dream. I don't know what's up with that. And in the world of Burn's, or in Burn's Warren, there's like a big, they're described as childlike, they're like big childlike giants or whatever that are holding up a ceiling, and they're like slowly dying. And I don't know, man. Quick Ben, he goes there, he finds out what's going on, and there's this moment where Quick Ben, I forget who he says this to, but he's like, now, you may have the gods, like, trying to take you down or whatever, but now you gotta worry about me, and I'm Quick Ben, or whatever, and it's that, like, I don't know about not pig-headedness, but brashness or just confidence. Quick Ben is just sheer ultimate like unwavering confidence in himself is really impressive to watch. It's kind of amazing. It reminds me a bit of I guess it's not. It's a bit different, but I went to a football game. We're getting off track here, but I went to a football game. I'm not a big football boy, not big into sports ball. It's American football, by the way. I went to an American football game at my college, and there's just something really captivating about the unwavering confidence of a drunk frat guy yelling at the enemy football team, yelling at the opposing team. There's something really captivating about it. But I digress. Yeah, he's like 9 people or something. I guess he deserves that confidence. But Kruppa is also kind of exudes a similar energy to Quick Ben. I want to watch the two of them interact with each other more. I think that would be very interesting. And yeah, so the crippled god is, I don't know, like an alien or something. I'm not entirely sure. He's like a dude who's not supposed to be there. And a long time ago, the Justice League assembled and brought him down or something. And the Great Ravens are maggots that ate his flesh or something like that. And our Great Raven, I can't remember her name, but she's like the big one, is the first of those. Strange things, man. Strange things. So yeah, I'm interested to see where this like Burn and Kaladin brood is chosen by Burn, and at any moment he can just like strike the earth and destroy a mountain, or end it all or whatever. But if he does that, Burn bleeds. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't want to get stuck on that. I don't want to get stuck on that though, because we've got a couple other characters I want to talk about. That being Talk the Younger. Talk's back, baby, and he's pretty great. I like Talk. At least I like the few moments we get with Talk when he is not being tortured in one of the worst ways that can be imagined. In the arms of the matron, who's like the old Kachin Shamale brood mother or whatever. I did know that he wasn't dead, because I saw on like a forum or something back when I still looked at that. I don't really look at it. I don't really look online at Malazan stuff anymore outside of videos for books I've already read. But excuse me, someone said like Talk the Younger is my favorite character throughout Malazan, and I was like, well, there's no way he's your favorite character if he flew into a Chaos Warren and died fucking in the first book. So he has to come back at some point. I was a bit surprised to see him come back, in the way that he did, at least. Traveling with Lady Envy, the Three Segula, and Onos Tulan. Who Onos Tulan is also a pretty damn cool character. I find myself quite frustrated with Talk the Younger, honestly, because he thought it would be a good idea to separate himself from the Three Segula, Lady Envy, and Onos Tulan, who those 4 or 5 characters all. Oh, and I don't know, like the large wolf and the dog. I forget their names. Well, I think one of their names is Garrett. I don't know. I might have just made that up. But he thought, like, don't worry, guys. I will meet you over at Coral. I'm taking the express route. And he kind of ingratiated himself with the Teniscowry, becoming one of Annister's commanders. Never once did he eat human flesh, though. So that's good. At least as far as I know, he didn't eat flesh. Even though the Penian seer could have tricked Talk the Younger into eating flesh. In that moment where Talk and the seer first meet, I think, and the seer conjures a bunch of food. I don't know. I'm just like, why? Why would you do that? God damn it, Talk. You got yourself captured by the enemy. You walked into them, bro. You walked into the enemies, in like fucking behind their line. You're just a dude. You're not special. I mean, you are special. He is special, but he's also not special. At least there, I think. In that like instance, he's not special in the regard that he's gonna like destroy them. I don't really remember what his plan. Oh no, his plan was he was gonna travel with the Teniscowry to rejoin with Dujek's host or One Arm's host, and the Malazan army. Yeah, so that didn't work out. Or I guess if you plan if he was playing the really long game, it actually worked out really well, because then he became the mortal sword of Tog and Fandere. So maybe Tog was just playing 4D chess there. But I really liked that rapport that Talk and Tool had. Their little fun back and forth. Talk is a fun character. It was also fun to watch him talk with Lady Envy, who could be quite an insufferable character at times. And the three Segula, who are a punitive army. I like the Segula. I think they're a bit like edgy, but they're fun. They're pretty fun. These like masked warriors that like 3 of them. Yeah, we sent 3 as like a diplomatic. Or no, it was that like the Teniscowry were like annoying. They kept going over to the like Segula Island or whatever the fuck where they all live, which are these like super warriors or whatever, and we're like, you either will join us or we're gonna go to war with you, the Teniscowry said. And the Segula were like, yes, please, yes, war, that would be awesome, please send more. And the Panians never sent more. Or like they kept sending like small forces or whatever, but it was just like annoying to the Segula. It was like, God, just send them all. We want to fight. Let's go. So they sent 3 dudes, one of whom was the third in the Segula, who is like a legendary swordsman or whatever. They're all like super legendary. And those 3 are just enough. They could have just like wrecked their way all the way to the Penian Seer. They did wreck their way all the way to the Penian Seer, before he was like whisked away by Quick Ben. I think they're in Morn, or no, they went to like, I think they either went to Morn, where there's like that rend in the sky, like that chaos rend in the sky. In the Penian Seer is in the prologue to the book. I think it's the prologue to the book. There's like this the Jaghut are being hunted down by some. No, it's not the prologue. It might be chapter 1. No, it is the. It is the prologue. Some Jaghut is being hunted down by some Imas, and she like. I don't know. The Jaghut that's being hunted down has 2 children, and gives the 2 children to an Imas soul taken. I cannot remember her name, but she is Tool's sister, and she like takes the children and like chucks them into the Chaos Warren or whatever, because she thought that would be a good idea. I don't remember. That was literally months ago when I read that. I don't know why she thought it was a good idea. Maybe it did seem like a good idea. She seemed pretty sorrowful after confronting or after like apologizing to the Penai Seer about it. So, whatever. What the fuck was I talking about? I don't know. I've been talking for like an hour now. I need to really make these shorter and hone in on stuff. But, nah. I got a couple more things I want to talk about, and then I'm just going to end it. Kruppa. What's up with this guy? This guy is something. He's something. This is not just some dude. This is something, I feel like, because he's too powerful. He knows too much about what's going on. He's extremely cunning. And this like kind of whimsical atmosphere around this guy is totally intentional. He gives me a little bit of like Iskarol Pust energy. Which I think I said that about Iskarol Pust, and that he reminded me of Kruppa. But I think Iskarol Pust is exactly who he is, or not. I don't know. Maybe he's more than he is. But Kruppa is definitely something, and I want to know more about him. Hopefully, we'll find out as the books go on. There's one scene in the book, really short sequence with Aitkovian and Ormu Logan the artist and Gumble. I think it's Gumble or Grumble. I think it's Gumble. The toad, his like critic. Ormu Logan is the imperial historian for Dujek's or One Arm's host. And he's got a talking toad with him, and I think that's funny. And I'm a little sad that they are only in a few short pages. I wanted more of them. I was delighted by the return of Cole and Murillo. I did not think they would be in this book. I was very surprised when I saw them. And they spend a lot of their time in the book dealing with the Maybe, who I have apparently saved for last. The Maybe. This is a character that I think, as the series goes on, I will come back to this book and appreciate it more. But as it is in this book, this was probably my least favorite character. Because I spent most of the book just not knowing what the fuck was going on with her. Like, her dreams or whatever. Like, she's being chased by, like, a wolf or whatever. I still don't... Frankly, I don't entirely know what's going on with that. Still. I know it was something about, like, a dream realm with, that Silver Fox was building for her mother. I don't know what that has to do with the Maybe being chased down by wolves, but it's like also the wolf realm of the Rivi spirits. What does this have to do? I don't know, and it's confusing, and I don't really get it. I'm glad the Maybe seems to have found some kind of peace for now. I think it's a bit scummy. Silver Fox didn't see her at the end there, but I guess it's understandable. Tensions between the two of them were quite bad, but I think that would have gone some ways towards making things better. But anyways, yeah, maybe. I kept feeling like throughout the entire book, I'm like, this person has to be more important than. I don't think we're done with the maybe. I think the maybe's coming back definitely as the series goes on, because she simply gets too much attention throughout the whole book for her to just be nothing. If she doesn't come back, then okay, I guess. But she gets too much attention for her to not be significant, I think, or to come back later. There was something else I wanted to talk about, and I am now remembering what it was. Let's see. Let's open the Dramatis Personae. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about is the maps. I appreciate the maps that are in this book. I have a small little paperback version, mass market paperback version, which I'd rather have a nice larger edition of the books, but these were the cheapest versions of the books I could buy, and as a college student, cost is a factor. So it was a little hard to read the maps, but I'm glad that they were here. Oh my gosh, I just saw the city of Mott. That reminded me of the Mott Irregulars, who are who are a lot of fun. They kind of remind me of like the sappers in Dead House Gates, where like the commander of the sappers just can't be found. The Mott Irregulars kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, I like these maps. I especially like the map of Capistan. I really, really wish that there was a map of Coral. Of Coral. That would have really helped me kind of understand and visualize what's going on. With a lot of the battles that happened in this book, I think they were easier to understand what was happening, but I still found myself getting lost. I really, if you're watching if you made it this far, first off, congratulations. Second, I'm sorry. And third, if you're a fantasy author and you are having a lot of large battles in your book, do me a big favor and put a map before the battle happens, of like the area, so I can at least visualize where people are, and get it, because some of these things I still got lost and I still didn't really know what was happening, and I read through to see if anything important happened, but I had almost kind of given up on like trying to really keep track of it. Especially I tried really hard to keep track of what was going on with Coral, because that's like the end of the book. That's the last thing happening. And obviously it's a big deal. It's very important. And everything that happens in Coral takes place over like 150 pages. It's like half a normal book, or half a short book. So I got lost. I took breaks. I didn't read it every day. I wasn't able to. It took me 2 months to read this thing, unfortunately. I think with the next book, or no, the next book might take longer, actually. I don't know. This book is 900 pages. House of Chains. This is 1,000. But it looks like the print's a little bigger. Like the words are a little larger on this page, so we'll see how that adds up. But this is a dense book. There's a lot that happens in here. But yeah, please, for the love of God, put maps of your battles, please, or maps of the area, or just something to help me know what's going on. Instead of a bunch of maps at the front of the book, it would be sick if throughout the book there were maps as they were relevant. like this this only has like 2 maps, so a bunch of maps. Some books are guilty of this, where they just put a bunch of maps at the beginning. But like 2 maps at the beginning of the book, not terrible, not bad. But throughout the book, I would have appreciated a couple more maps. That's something I do like about Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive, which I have got Oathbringer right here, just off screen, but I've got Oathbringer there, which I read like halfway through, and then I decided, I'm going to read Malazan. So I guess I'm going to finish this and then go back to it. And by then, hey, maybe book 5 will be out. Or no, I think he's releasing book 5 soon. Maybe book 6 will be out. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot more to say, but I've been talking for a long time. I don't make cuts in these videos. I think I'm just about done here. I can't even remember the name of this goddamn thing. House of Chains. I want to try something new with videos. I want to try making a video for each chapter, so that way I can kind of keep track of things a little better and provide more in-detailed thoughts on things as they come up. I want to try to make each video a bit tighter, because these are very loose. They go on for a long time, and they're a bit rambly. I'm not entirely happy with them, but oh well. I'm not going to redo this. I might try to do a video each chapter for House of Chains. I don't know if that's going to happen. It might be every other chapter. It might be every book within the book, because like Memories of Ice is one book, but there's also 3 books in this one book. Like there's the prologue, and then there's book 1, The Spark in the Ashes, book 2, Hearthstone, and book 3, Capistan, book 4, Memories of Ice, and then there's an epilogue. Oh yeah, what happened in the epilogue in this book? Oh right, I like the epilogue in this book. The epilogue is that Perrin and the bridge burners, who were reduced to 6 people after the majority of them fell at Coral, retired to Darujistan with a fat bunch of money, where High Alchemist Baruch has recreated what's his name? Duiker, who is my favorite character from Dead House Gates. So it's nice to have him back at the end there, make a little cameo. Forget which character it is. There's a fun little exchange. Ah, yes. Okay. Sure, Spindle snapped. A story to break our hearts all over again. What's the value in that? A rough, broken voice replied. There is value. Everyone fell silent, turned to Duiker. The Imperial historian had looked up, was studying them with dark eyes. Value. Yes. I think much value. But not yours, soldiers. Not yet. Not too soon for you. Too soon. And then he proceeds to tell them of the chain of dogs, Coltane, and newly come fist to the 7th Army, and all that. And that's where the book ends, is like him telling the story of the 2nd book. And I really, 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 really like that. Throughout the book, there's also interspersed some references to Duiker and 7 Cities and Coltane and everything going on over there. So that was a lot of fun. Made the world feel more connected, and made it feel, like the 2nd book is actually relevant to what's going on in the 3rd. So yeah. I think I may end it there. Is there anything else that's kind of coming to me here? Oh, right. So, Steven Erikson, you drag me through this tragic book where several incredible characters are killed in horrific and violent ways, and everything is grim. Hope, however, is throughout all the pages. But in a way, this book is torture. And you make me cry at several points throughout this book because of some of the things that happen to the characters and some of the connection and the emotion. And then you end it with a sex joke. Because if you don't read the epilogue, which you should read the epilogue, right? But, like, the book ends with a fucking punchline of Onos Toulon having sex with Hetton. God damn it. And it's really good. It's fucking funny. I laughed out loud when I read that. Because I just imagine him having this big dopey grin because he's like flesh and blood human again, or human strong, I guess. I don't know if they're human, but you know, Hetton is like, I bet you haven't slept with a woman in quite a while, and Toulon is like, yup, and then he like smiles. It's so fucking. God damn it. I hate you. I hate you for ending the book like that, you son of a bitch. It was great. Loved it. Oh, right. I wanted to talk about how they honor Itkovian's death. That's hard. I just like that moment, I think, is gonna stick with me for a while. Where it's the Grey Swords just holding this simple burial for Itkovian, and not only does Gruntle and his kind of legion show up, there up walks this simple Malazan soldier who Itkovian had given his helm to back in Kapistan. And the soldier wants to give the helm back. And right behind him is the entire Malazan army. And then beyond that is all of the Talani Mas and all of Kaladin Brood's force, I believe. And the Tistandi, and everyone walks forward and leaves an object, like a little gift, to Itkovian. And this like massive mound of objects soon forms, which is then dubbed Itkovian's gift. Fair enough. And it's such a powerful moment that really struck me as it just left it left with me. That's gonna be with me now. That action of like they're leaving a thing there, and it I feel like it did a lot more than some speech could have. It was great, and it was well done. I think it was in good taste, and it was all of the characters who died. I feel that, the characters that you like who die, I feel like they're all treated with respect. I feel like their deaths are not forgotten. They're not pointless. There's a big thing about honoring those who have fallen, which Malazan Book of the Fallen, huh? Um, yeah, I think that's all for me. Okay, cool. Thank you for watching, if indeed you still are. Find that hard to believe. And I hope you take it easy. But hey, take it.